Also has some exclusive footage you're going to see here first. I'm talking about Color Sync from David Jonathan, and the other brand new release from him with Double Trouble Tonight, Fortuna as well. This guy is a busy, busy man, and I'm super stoked to have him with us tonight, David Jonathan.
How's it going, man? Good to be here.
It is great to have you here, my friend. I think it's only fitting that we kick off our talk tonight with this guy, and it's kind of keying out a little bit. Um, Color Sync, the brand new thing that just dropped, what, like 2 days ago, I think? Is that right? About 2 days ago?
Yeah, something like that. It's been a whirlwind the past few days, but yes, it's brand new on the market, and it's been in the works for over 2 years. So I'm really excited for people to finally get this in their hands.
Nice. All right. For those that don't know what Color Sync is, if you want to just kind of like lay it out a little bit, I know you have some stuff with you too, but what is Color Sync, Mr. David Jonathan?
So Color Sync is my take on the 5x5 matchup plot, which is typically done with ESP cards, right? So you place down your five symbols, they place down their five, and they match. But I'm doing it with colors instead for a couple different reasons. And the other big thing about this is what the main handling here, as you see, is not entirely in the hands. So there really hasn't been a version of this that I'm aware of for strolling situations. That's just takes this to another level of practicality. And I think it's pretty fooling as well. I think the method people appreciate. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Nice. All right. And as people can see here, the reactions, people definitely, and I know who that handsome guy is. We definitely see the reactions from people because it is so fair. And the other thing I want to let people know is right off the bat, you do not just have to do this where, David. We wanted to talk a little bit about this. We have a clip too, but people think, oh, it's just in the hands and you do this. But you don't just have to do that, right?
No, so the method that you is used here is really versatile. So there is a tabled version as well. Now, when I was out there filming, we were in the streets, so we were just doing the main version. That's what you see in the trailer. But a lot of people have been curious what the tabled version looks like. So I actually filmed it today, like 3 hours ago, and sent Luke the clip. So I'll show you guys tonight one of the alternate handlings that you learn on here, which is pretty clean if I do say so myself. So it's nice that this version it looks like two different effects almost, but it is the same card, same setup, same method. So maybe we should just roll it so people can see what the tabled version looks like.
Well, as you wish, my friend. If you tell me to do it, I will do it. So this is the brand new exclusive footage that hasn't been out yet. You guys get first dibs on it. This is the tabled version of Color Sync. Enjoy. There it is, my friends, and thank you, David, for sending that my way because they just saw it here first for the very first time. So, yes.
Yeah, so hopefully people like that. Let me know in the chat. But again, so that is just one of the versions there. That's the tabled version. But it's funny because I marketed this as you don't need a table because that was kind of my goal when creating this was let me do a version that works for strolling situations and It can all be done in the hands. And then once I had the method, two things happened. I said, one, holy crap, this works really great in table, as you guys can see. And two, it also became arguably the easiest version of this plot. And that was just a byproduct of the method because there's no moves in this thing. I mean, literally, especially the in the hands version. The table version, you're going to need a little more practice, I'll say. But the in the hands version, it looks identical if you were to do this without special cards, right? I mean, because what's nice about this is, I mean, I know I just showed the table version, but we're talking about the in the hands version, which you're going to see here on screen right now. When they place all the cards on top and you move it to the bottom, they make every free choices. So there's no equivoque. Whatever card they choose to place on top, 100% in their hands, their control. There's no moves, there's no displacement moves, there's no one behind, there's no markings. A lot of the stuff that you see in this plot is what I wanted to solve here. So that's what you'll see here. And the moment that I spread the cards and show them the alternating backs, which proves that everything's the exact order, that nothing funny happened, at that point, you're done. When you just tilt the cards up, everything matches, and the cards do all the work because it's self-working, which is really cool. And that's one of the other things about this as well is why did I choose color, right? I mean, ESP cards are pretty popular, but for me, there's a couple reasons. One was for the method, which I'll get to in a second, and the other is colors are universal, right? So at ESP cards, you have to always explain what they are and talk about Dr. Rhine or psychic testing. Colors are just universal. It's just, I got colors on cards here. We're going to play games, use your intuition. It's fun, and boom, you're right into it. And also, they're so much more visual. So, there's no language barrier, but also if you can do this in Parlor, because once you tilt up those cards or you show the card, they can see that bright, vivid color from across the room. Whereas a symbol from there, if they're that far away, they may not know if that's a triangle or a star, right? Because it's just, it makes more sense. And then also for the method, because I know I'm talking for a while here. I'll get back to you, Luke, in a second. But so when you do the problem that I had with this plot, right? Now I know the table version you just saw revealing one at a time. What I really wanted to solve here was I don't think, in my personal opinion, that hits as hard for the audiences because once they see that one matches, then the second matches, then the third, you get kind of a slow burn. And I think that audiences are smart. They know that, we're performers. They kind of see what's going to happen. And once you show that 4 of the 5 cards match, well, then that fifth card, the last pair that you turn over, is irrelevant because they know it matches in advance. So what's different here with the colors is that you just tilt up those cards and they see everything at once. And that's why it gets the strong reactions in the trailer that you see because you're hitting them with that visual moment, which a lot of these other routines can't do, especially with the colors. Because when you're showing that fan display, you're only seeing maybe a sliver of the card, right? So if that was a cross or a circle, you wouldn't know because you're only seeing a portion of like the corner of the card. But when you see the full face of the card's color, you can get that display and they know instantly and see that it all matches. Yeah, I know that we got the green screen issues here. I have my cards here, so maybe I can just they're not set up in their team, but when you have this moment here, so you see how this card right here is just a sliver. If there was a star in the middle of that card, you wouldn't see it. But because that it's all blue, you know that that's blue. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone out there. But it allows for that moment of the routine, which is really different and sets it apart, and it's what gets those reactions.
And I want to say too, like obviously the packaging is great, and I'm kind of rubbing that in a little bit to David because he doesn't even have the packaging. I do.
Yeah,
I'm
just
very,
cards.
but you do have the most important part, which is the cards. Um,
Yes.
and I did want to say that the cards themselves are just, there might be some questions out there, David. Pretty much the
Yeah.
same size as a playing card, right? These, are, I think, it is exactly the same size, right?
Standard playing card size. Yeah.
Yeah. So for people wondering how big or how small, at least now you know they're standard playing card size. Yeah, and it feels like they're pretty much the same finish too, if I'm not mistaken. Not that that really matters, but I think it's about the same finish, isn't it?
Yeah. So Penguin has a proprietary stock that's very, very close to Bicycle, and that's what they're using here. So if
Mm,
you've got any of their recent effects using that or any of their recent decks, it's the same finish and cards as those.
gotcha. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, I mean, whether you do this in the hands or whether you perform this on the table, the best part is, it's perfect for the walk around performer. And let me ask you a couple questions for those workers that I know want to use this in those situations. Number one, David Jonathan, how fast is the reset? If someone's doing walk around and they just perform the trick and they put it away and they want to perform it for another group, how long is the reset to do this again?
Instant. So that's what's so cool about this. You reset it in front of your audience. So obviously, I don't have it here, but you would have. Let me see if I can just put my cards in this order, even though it's not. So, and let me bring my camera down. So, just to show you guys here. So, in the end, you're in this display right here where you have everything alternating. All you do is just up jog all the other cards for the black ones in this case, strip them out, place them on top, and you're done. So, you do that right in front of your audience, and that's the reset right there. Right now, I'm ready to go again.
Nice.
So, super, super practical in that regard.
Booyah. I'm not surprised. You're David freaking Jonathan. I mean, you find ways to have powerful effects. The outcome is extremely powerful, but the way to get there, it's just clever thinking. And I'm not downplaying that, but it's really clever thinking to get you to a point where people's minds just explode. And I'm excited as well to talk about Fortuna because it's another great example of just that, of this simplicity of a classic method traditionally used, but now made even better. You have a knack for that kind of stuff, and for people that are creating magic, when it comes to plots that may exist and going in to tackle it, I think this is a great lesson for people that less is sometimes more. Sometimes people try to overcomplicate the method because they think they have to. Um, but if you take old principles and you mix them in with some creative thinking, you get some really cool results, man. And you're really good at doing that. That's why I wanted to kind of bring all that up. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I teach in my lectures my whole creative crash course and how to go about that and create effects. But yeah, basically, like, I mean, one of the things like that you really want to think about is like, again, with everything that you're seeing tonight, it's like, okay, ESP matchup plot, standard multiple outs, right? Like, it's been done hundreds of times before. So it's like, what are you bringing to the table that's advancing this? What problems are there that you solving? What are you doing that's new to sort of really advance this forward? I mean, especially if you're considering releasing something, right? Because no one just wants to put out another version of a sandwich trick. It's like, okay, well, think about the 10 best sandwich plots out there, right? What does yours do that those don't do? How is that going to be better? How are you advancing that plot and bringing it to someplace new that it hasn't been before, whether it's with method or whether it's with changing the props? But that's the type of stuff that, creators should really be thinking about, because it's all about advancing the art and releasing something that solves an issue or offers something new instead of just rehashing just other versions, which we kind of see a lot of. So, that's kind of the way that I look at it. I'm not saying that it's easy, right? But that's what makes something, I think, really worthwhile, where you're offering a new solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, again, my friends, sometimes less is more. You don't have to do knuckle busting crap just to do it. There's other ways to come up with solutions to problems that do exist. And um, I think it's pretty funny that our friend Max, you're gonna love this. He's a diehard Yankees fan. He says that he'll buy every David
I got
Jonathan
the Mets
product,
hat on.
but you need to switch to a Yankees hat.
Not going to happen. it was
um,
it was a disappointing postseason for us both. So
yeah, yeah.
we'll just leave it at that.
Always next year. Always next year.
Yeah, exactly.
This is kind of a generic question, but I did notice as well, and I'm actually glad Dwayne said it. The case that you have that you carry your cards in, Dwayne wanted to know what case are you carrying your stuff in? Yeah.
Oh, so this guy,
Yeah.
So this was basically what I keep my color sync cards in. Any packet trick wallet will suffice. I mean, they sell them for like $1 on Penguin Magic, or I don't know if do you stock any of like the packet wallets, Luke? I'd rather they buy through you than somewhere else. But
Yes, sir.
yeah, so any of those. This just happens to be one that I got at Staples. That was just a little bit nicer with the leather. Um, but yeah, just
Cool.
I basically just use packet trick wallets most of the time.
Cool. Yeah.
But
Yeah, we've
if
got
it's
the
one of my
TCC
products, I
one.
like to give the royal treatment. So
Yes, I like that indeed. And I have the smaller version. I don't have the wallet, but I have my Swiss Army knife here somewhere. So
yeah,
um,
yeah.
it's John Bing. Yeah, we do carry the TCC packet wallets, and he's like, yeah,
Oh,
I think,
those are fantastic. I
and the
love those.
price is so cheap. Like I don't understand how they do it. All their stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
all
dang cheap.
TCC stuff is so affordable and such good quality. They're unbelievable.
Yep. It's just sometimes hard to get. Like right now, I'm waiting on their close-up bags to come back in. But yeah, it's good
Yeah.
stuff. Um, Someone made a nice comment about the other thing that we're going to chat about tonight. John Bing brought it up. He said, "I really liked the outs for this guy for
Oh, thank
Fortuna."
you, John.
Yeah, I do too. I was raving about this last Friday. Went to a magic show in town. Frankie Valle and Mike Hankins and Ryan Beyer and Wayne Eady. A lot of our
Oh,
friends
sure.
were there performing. And after the show, I was like, "Have you guys seen Fortuna yet? Because you guys are really gonna like the outs." So why don't we go ahead and jump into some Fortuna talk, and we can always go back to Color Sync as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So Fortuna, what is it in a nutshell? Obviously, there's a lot more to this, and we're going to get into it. But for those that haven't seen it, what is Fortuna?
So Fortuna is mine and Nicholas Mavresis, the co-creator of this. We'll talk more about him in a minute, but it's our version of the classic multiple out effect, known as hypnotic choice or mental choice, where you place 5 objects or cards, whatever, in front of your spectator. They choose one, and there is an out for each of their choices because it's a free choice, and you reveal that you predicted it in some special way. So that's Fortuna in a nutshell, but saying that does not do it justice. And that's why we took kind of a risk in this trailer, right? So, the multiple out effect, right? And I'll talk about the presentation here. You're seeing Lucky Charms and why we chose that as well. But the goal here was with any multiple out effect, and look, we're all magicians. You see this presentation, right? Now, here's 5 things, choose one. What if I predicted it right? We know it's multiple out. We've been around the block, right? But what's the problem with that plot in general is one or two of those outs are going to be great, and 3 of them are going to be pretty mediocre or subpar. And I never like to do magic where 50% of the time or whatever it may be, I'm going to get a weaker outcome. I always want to deliver strong magic or mentalism whenever I'm performing. So we basically set a goal for ourselves. We said, look, dude, we both love this plot, but let's solve this. Let's come up with 5 fantastic outs so that no matter what happens, it's always going to be a strong performance, right? So that's not to say that they're all equal. You just saw the elephant featured there. That is, a lot of people agree, the strongest out and one that gets picked the most for strategic reasons and how we develop this. But all the other 4 outs are good. They're really good. But the problem with it is like, okay, so how do you market that? Right? Because if I show you a standard trailer, then you're going to say, oh, okay, well, he showed the best outcome, right? And then if I show you 2 outs, then you're going to say, okay, well, those are the 2 good outs in the effect, and the other 3 are the typical okay outs that we're used to seeing. So I told Nicholas, and I was like, dude, let's just reveal every out in the trailer because you're going to make a wrong assumption otherwise. You're going to assume that it's one thing and it's not. It's better than that, in our opinion. So that was kind of risky because, yes, we are exposing our own effect and revealing magic, but, you know, I want to be as upfront with you guys as I can, as transparent as we can be. So we wanted to show you, like, look, we're putting our money where our mouth is. We're saying that every out here is great. See for yourself. If you agree, then this could be for you because what you're seeing here is all 5 outs that we expose in the trailer, and we're showing that it's all self-contained within this single envelope. So the entire trick, every single, all 5 outs are right here in this envelope. So this is a perfect everyday carry. It's not like you're palming something in from your back pocket or have to wear a necklace or anything. Everything is in here and it's ready to go. So it's super practical. That was the goal, and we really wouldn't settle. We had four good outs, and the fifth one was always tough. And we came up with ideas. I think we went through like six different outs until we finally had this crazy idea with the label that you'll see in the trailer. And Nicholas was like, dude, I don't even think that's going to work. So I said, well, there's only one way to find out. And we went to Phil Smith, one of the best graphic designers in the business. I had this crazy idea. I said, mock it up for us. He knocked it out of the park. And that's what you see here. So I know I've been talking a little bit for a while about this, but that's kind of our approach here. We're being as transparent as we can be and really putting our money where our mouth is. And now you get to make an informed decision because you see exactly what you're getting. Is this right for you? If not, cool, no harm. But at least we're being upfront and honest so you guys know exactly what you're buying. So it's not the typical release where we wait for the reviews and see if it's good or not. So,
Yeah. And definitely, you mentioned the elephant seems to be the most picked thing. Do you have any idea why? Or why do you think that? Is it wrapped up in the
yeah.
presentation
So
that you kind of lean
let
on
me
that?
talk about what these are, and maybe I'll show you guys a close up of the cards. You want to bring me full screen for a second here?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Hell yeah.
So basically, the whole premise of this is, I cut this part out of the trailer just because, we wanted something that's also engaging. What's a nice hook to get people involved right away? So we talk about how there's Lucky Charms from all over the world in different cultures. And I actually have some examples here, and then you talk about it. So you say we have the caduceus. This is popular in Greece, and this is the staff of Hermes. We associate it with the medical field, but really the staff of Hermes is considered a good luck charm as it wards off evil spirits in Greek culture. Then we talk about the horseshoe, and kind of self-explanatory, but that's originated in the United States. The tumi is an ancient ceremonial knife. That's from Peru. The elephant here is from Western culture, so Asia and India. We talk about that. And then the cornicello looks like a little pepper there that's worn around your necklace. That's from Italy. So it's an interesting hook here about having them choose a lucky charm. So now we have something captivating and engaging right away. But why do people choose the elephant? I don't know. People love elephants, but also just from a standard or psychology point of view, this position is chosen the most. People rarely go for the ends. The middle is a little too convenient. So these two you see get chosen probably the most. And we feel that, again, all of them are very good, but we feel that these two are probably the best outs. And they're strategically positioned in a way where you're going to hit that. So, I mean, in my experience, honestly, I get like elephant 70% of the time. This is crazy. But while I have the cards here, they're made of PVC plastic. So, I mean, as you see here, they're super flexible and bendy. If someone spills their drink on it, you just wash it off. So it's built to last a lifetime. And all of the props here were custom made for the effect. The poker chip that you saw in here, this is not just a sticker put on there, that's actually printed on there. Everything's high quality. And I'll just show you here because in the trailer, I have two outs inside the envelope, but there's also a divider in here, which makes it super easy. So when you naturally open the envelope, you're going to see the section with the 5 cards that you want to pull out and the poker chips at the bottom there. So right when I take this out, I just reach in and pull those cards out, and this can go on the table. But we have a divider, if I can slide it out, inside the envelope here. So this just makes your handling super easy and clean. So if they choose the poker chip, when I tilt that out, I can show this as empty, right? Because the divider's hiding that other card there, which again, when you think about all the outs here, why are they so strong? It's because there's nothing else in the envelope. There's no other place for outs to hide. One of my philosophies about multiple outs is if you have so much clutter on the table, that's hiding places for multiple outs. If I have a bill here, a wallet here, 5 cards here, and a note here, and you have 5 objects, well, I can see the 5 outs on the table. When I show this as empty, they're like, shit, there was nothing else in the envelope. How could this have gone any other way? But I can place that back in here, and just with the divider, when I push down, now I can take out the card, your lucky charm, the gag for this reveal, but I show this as empty. And I can tilt this down, even though there's a poker chip in there. So again, every single outcome here looks like it's the only way possible. And the other thing about that as well is that every outcome builds. So what I mean by that is, in some effects, it's like, okay, I chose the caduceus. Let's say the caduceus was on the back of the envelope here, right? And then you just say, and boom, right here, there's a caduceus. Okay, but that doesn't really build. So one of the nice things about this is, like, yes, this is a standard revealed back of the envelope, but when you see the trailer, it hides in plain sight. But because of that, it's, oh, actually, you chose this. Well, there's a poker chip inside. Oh, a poker chip wasn't one of the outcomes. Well, it's my lucky charm. Actually, turn it over, see what's on the back of it. It's the Horseshoe Casino. Everything builds. There's a moment of when you pull out the Caduceus, your lucky charm, it's a gag, but then you turn it over, it gets that reveal. So to have five outs where each of them have that slow moment or a joke or something that builds to a reveal always makes that outcome strong, and that's really hard to do with five outs. So a lot of thought went into this, because it's not just, oh, there it is, I knew it. It's, oh, this, and then it builds, and then you show it there, which always gets a stronger reaction. So I mean, again, that's us putting our money where our mouth is of why we think this is so strong.
Nice. Um, I know you went over the why about each thing there. However, there is another question that I didn't even think of asking you. John Bing
Sure.
wants to know, how did you come up with the name? What about the name? How did you come up with that?
That is Nicholas. So Fortuna means is the Roman goddess of fortune, and it also means luck in Italian and Latin. So I mentioned Nicholas. He's the co-creator. I got to give him a huge shout out, because this wouldn't be here what it is today without Nicholas. I mean, the guy is a freaking genius. So if you guys are not familiar with him, I'm giving you homework tonight. Look up Nicholas Mavrasis. His name is right there. I know it's spelled a little funky because he's from Cyprus. Sorry, but the guy is an absolute genius, and I work with him on a lot of my stuff, and we have a lot of releases that are out and coming out. And he's my favorite creator and my best friend. So I want to give him a huge shout out, because I mean, this effect is, literally half his creation as well.
Cool. Also, he, I haven't looked at it yet. I think he sent it to me yesterday. Nicholas sent me a link to another new thing of his that he was asking for a quote on. So I'm actually really excited to see what this is. I don't remember what the name is or anything, but I am stoked to watch it. So yeah,
Yeah, if it's from him, I can guarantee you that it's clever as hell.
yeah. Well said. And Wayne nailed it. It's not just Fortuna, but both of the effects here, Color Sync as well. He gets it. What a worker, and that's the main reason I really wanted to talk so much about these, is because as someone that has worked in the trenches, that has been out there in front of real people, having things on you that are easy to do but pack a punch, they're priceless. And so, yeah, I was very excited to talk about both of these. And how funny is that, man? Like, not only do you drop one really strong piece of magic in a week, you actually did it twice. So I don't know too many people that are doing that. So, yeah,
Yeah,
mad
dude. I
respect.
mean, sometimes it just happens. But for people not familiar with the industry, it's not like you pitch something to a company, oh, great, it'll be out next week. This stuff, Color Sync was 2 years at least. Fortuna, Nicholas, I've been working on for a year. It just so happens that it's all coming out. And actually, I have another big release coming the end of this month. There might be another big one sneaking out around Christmas time, but probably more January. So I hate to put like I've put my foot in my mouth before, because last year I have said on like public interviews that, oh yeah, there's all this stuff coming out, and every single one of those got delayed out of my control. So I'm not going to make any guarantees, but there is one definitely coming out more by the end of the year. That is a really big release that I'm excited for people to
Cool.
see. And also, before I forget, there was a question on the Taco Tuesday. Someone had asked about what's the quality of the envelope, because I do say this is an EDC, an everyday carry, but it is paper, so this can get torn in your wallet, in your pocket, or banged around, right? So a couple things on that. One, we did get quality envelope stock. With that said, it's not Tyvek; it is paper, so it is susceptible to damage over time, but we have some solutions for that. So one is with the label affixed to it that actually adds sturdiness to it, especially with the divider inside and the cards that actually makes it meaty inside. But also, when you buy this, I give you a link on Amazon where you can buy these. So this is a COVID vaccination card sleeve that you cut, and it's actually the perfect size. So this just fits right in here. And now you just have like a little plastic carrier just so when this is in your pocket, no matter what's going to bang around, this is protected. And you get like 6 of these for under $5 on Amazon. So you don't have to get that. But, since you mentioned workers out there, that's something they want to consider is the longevity of props. So we do have you covered with Fortuna.
And Daniel Geddes does make a good point that you've covered all the angles. That's because David knows that he's going to continue putting out Magic, and all it really all it really takes is a stinker or two, and people start to really question you moving forward with your releases. And David's done a really good job of, I would say, quality control when it comes to releasing his stuff. So that's
Oh,
it's always
thank
good
you.
to know.
Yeah, a lot of that is self control too. A lot of times you think something's done, and believe me, it's not. So it's kind of funny. Like I mentioned, how long this stuff's been in development, but Color Sync, I think that Penguin had the rights to it 2.5 years ago, something like that. But since what the trick that they bought is very different from what you see in front of you today, because this I don't just say, okay, wait, my hands with it, that's done, it'll come out when it's ready. I'm continuing to work it, and I said this has to be more practical still. So it really evolved through, I think, 4 other versions of evolution over that time. So a lot of the stuff that you see me maybe releasing now, or in the coming months, is stuff that I've been working on for years. So the key is just don't rush anything out there, because one piece of advice: effects will only get better over time. They never get worse. So you really have to be patient, perform it as much as you can, and learn from those experiences, and then just fine tune it till. Well, here, that's a good way to sort of summarize this, and back to my creative process here. Every single trick is going to have a weakness. There's going to be a downside to it. I mean, there's no trick that has ever been released that's perfect, right? So the goal for you is to figure out in your checklist, in your mind, what are those negative aspects, those weak points that I'm going to be okay with. I'll give you an example. A trick can only be performed once because it involves a force, right? So I can't repeat that for another group. Well, you know what? That is a downside to it, but that trick is so damn strong that I'm okay with that weakness. So I'm going to check that off the box. What are the other weaknesses of it? Like, oh, it takes a while to reset. All right, let me work on that till I'm happy with that. So it's just basically finding a happy ground of, okay, this is ready because it has everything that, all the checks and all the weaknesses are there, are the ones that I'm okay with, because as I said, nothing's perfect. So I know I sort of divulged in there, but I think it's important to sort of share with people, because I get asked this all the time about the creative process, and that's sort of your self filtering of going through all this, so that when stuff comes out there, and I'm happy with everything I put out, but thankfully everyone else seems to be as well. A lot of my stuff doesn't really show up on the secondhand market too much. People seem to be really happy with everything I put out, which is thank you. But that's not by accident, because of the level of that everything goes through, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So also, David has plenty of other releases. Snaps was voted one of the best releases. Was it 2020 or 2021? Like the trick of the year.
Uh, 2020, that one trick of the year, yeah.
How has it already been 2 years since that came out?
It's wild, man.
Good Lord.
Time during the pandemic really seemed to fly for some reason. Maybe it's just me, but
Yeah. And also, Fortunate is another one of my favorites from you. I know during
oh
the
yes,
pandemic, you popped into the lounge and you're actually showing the guys how that one works, because it's a very intricate and cool gimmick that allows you to do a very simple revelation as well. I love that one a lot too. So,
yeah,
uh,
and shout out to Mark Mason for producing that, and for Dan Harlan, who co-created Snaps as well. Give them some credit too.
I love it, man. You're full of good magic and good crediting, which I think we could all take lessons from when it
Oh yeah,
comes to the way
we're
we.
all on the shoulders of giants, and yeah, so it's
Yes,
important.
very well said. Um, John Bing says, "Oh my God, I legit just got snaps. It's so good. Totally spaced on the fact that this is the creator of Snaps too."
Ah, thank you, John. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. David's been dropping the fire for a while now, and from the sound of things, he's not slowing down anytime soon. So that's good news for all of us.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah. um, the thing that you showed me, and I don't expect you to hold it up. I don't want to get you in any trouble. The thing that you held up earlier before we went live, when can we expect that? I know you have the packaging now, which is a good sign. Any ideas on that one?
What was that? uh, yeah, I'm not going to tease this too much, but there's something
Okay.
here which is really cool, and it's sneaking out of frame. I really can't spill the beans on that too much because the Murphys guys will have my head, but that is coming out either the end of this month or early this month. Definitely by the holiday
Cool.
season, it will be available. And I don't want to hype up my own stuff too much, but the only thing I'll say it's from myself and Nicholas Mavrasis again. So the other half, the genius in Cyprus, had a big part of this, and all of my effects combined I've never worked more so hard on a method than I did for this. So I mean, like way more than anything else I've worked on in the past. This has been a grind to figure out, but we nailed it. It's so freaking good. I can't wait for you guys to see it, and I'm really sorry to hype it, but it will be a short wait.
John Bing says, "Hype it up. You deserve it, man. You deserve it." Yes, yes.
Yeah, if you guys are into movies, mentalism with really visual reveals, that's totally different. I mean, I say movies and mentalism like, oh yeah, I've seen those tricks before. Trust me, this is unlike anything you've seen. It's just it combines a lot of other principles. I mean, look, you've seen it a while ago. I don't expect you to remember all the details, but I'm very proud of it. I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And very soon, very soon.
Cool. Um, I also want to give you a little bit of love on something else that you and I talked about um, during the pandemic. You know, you made the best of things, as a lot of us tried to, and you literally did a world tour from the comfort of your own home. I think that's where the studio is. Scott R. Smith, though, had a nice comment. He said, "Thank you for doing the amazing lecture for IBM Ring One on
Oh,
Zoom in
it's my
St.
pleasure.
Louis." He said that that's where he bought Snaps and the big package deal that you had there. So one of our friends checking you out on the virtual tour that you were doing there with your lectures.
Thank you so much, Scott. I really appreciate it.
So now that we're beyond the COVID stuff, I don't think we'll ever totally go back to normal. That's another story. Um,
Yeah.
do you have any dates coming up, in-person dates, where you may be lecturing? Maybe it's a convention or just a one-off lecture in a city that you're going to be near. Any in-person stops for Mr. David Jonathan?
So the big one coming up is I am doing a mentalism convention in Mexico. That's going to be at the end of January.
Cool.
So I'm very excited to be part of that. I'll be lecturing and selling there. And then I will also be dealing at the NemCon convention, which for any folks on the Northeast Coast, it's a wonderful one-day convention. They just announced the lineup this week, which is really fantastic. Some very big names on that. So I encourage you guys to check that out. And then I am actively booking a brand new lecture. So if anyone is interested, feel free to send me an email or reach out on social media, and be happy to try to work that out.
Very cool. All right. Yeah. I mean, while you were able to connect with people, via Zoom during the pandemic,
Yeah.
it's always nice to be able to get a little face-to-face time with people, especially when you're teaching your magic and trying to show your stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, and while we're talking about lectures, I'll do a shameless plug. I just did a Penguin Live, which came out a few days ago. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, that is also now available.
Oh man. Well, any last words? Any last thoughts on either Fortuna or Color Sync. Any last words that you want to share with the fam out there watching tonight, or maybe they're watching this weekend or something? I don't know.
Yeah, whenever you're watching, hopefully you enjoyed. If you have any other questions, if you weren't able to catch us live, just message me. I'll be happy to answer it. But yeah, I mean, I've been thinking maybe I'll hop on the lounge after this, and who knows, maybe I'll even teach how one of these works. Maybe, I don't know.
Only if you're up for it, man. I know you haven't been feeling very good,
No,
so.
I'm down. So, yes, if you are joining live, head to the lounge after, and maybe
Cool.
you'll see a little behind the scenes on Color Sync.
All right, sounds
And don't
good.
tell the Penguin guys, but
Not a word.
we'll
Not a
keep
word.
that just off Facebook. If you guys want to come, that's my way of saying thanks for coming out tonight.
Cool. All right. Well, then I can see a few people hanging out tonight, so I will also be joining in. So, yeah, with that said, I want to say a big thank you to David for hanging out with us here. I guess we'll be joining him a little bit here over in the lounge too. So, thank you for joining us, and to everyone watching out there, thanks for the questions. And if we didn't get to any of those questions because you're watching when it's not live, we'll do our best to go back in the comments and grab those questions and try to answer them for you too. So, yeah. All right. Well, David Jonathan, thank you so much, sir, for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was a wonderful time.
You got it, buddy. You're welcome anytime. You know that, but I gotta say it. I gotta say it. So with that said, my friends, I am gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank you to the man of the hour, and I will see some of you over in the All Things Magic Lounge. All right? All right, cool. I will catch you all over there. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See ya.